Who are safer drivers, men or women? Well, according to a new survey, 55% of adults feel that women are most responsible for minor fender benders, while 78% blame men for most fatal crashes. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman. For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So now you don't know what the hell to do, do you? No, I'm just kidding. We don't hire women. So.
Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from TikTok. I got fired. The consequences of women weaponizing MeToo. Now companies are letting women go and not wanting to hire them. Please like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Let's get that chow. It's chow time.
Guess who just got fired from her job 3 weeks or whatever before Christmas. And might I add, for absolutely fucking nothing. Literally fucking nothing. I was never late. I never called off. I was really good with all my tables. I was a great team player. But I made one fucking mistake and then I lost my fucking job.
You just said you made one mistake and you lost your job. You say that you're friendly and you're a great coworker and all these things. Your hair and the way you kind of present yourself kind of says difference.
Okay, I am really on a roll talking about these hiring managers who are partly to blame for why everyone is experiencing a labor shortage. And I think I want to add a little nuance to this now. I want to talk about women hiring managers who don't hire other women. We all know that systemically, women were oppressed and largely rejected or barred from participating in the workforce. Generally, we know that, right? However, we also know today that most of the women in companies, most of the people in companies who have the power to make hiring and firing decisions, nowadays, those are women. And I can tell you from the experience of being a woman, those women do not like hiring other women into their organizations. And they specifically do not like hiring younger women into their organizations. And they do not like hiring younger educated women into their organizations. Ask anyone who is under the age of 35, under the age of 40 even, what they've gone through, especially ask any woman under those ages, what they've gone through in interviews, being interviewed by other women. Disappointing, sad, heartbreaking, tragic. As a sociologist in training with my sociology degree, I've always held the belief that it's other women who are the
Of course, sociology degree. Sociologist in training. That's why she's TikToking everything.
Missing puzzle pieces to misogyny. It's other women who have political power, who have economic, financial power, who have hiring and firing power within organizations, who are still propping up misogyny and the patriarchy.
Or it's these women that have gotten to high positions, that know what they're doing, that have seen all the other women around them do nothing and just scave by. Women understand women a lot better than men. So women understand that a lot of women don't actually work. They are time wasters. They are clock watchers. So if I was a hiring manager and I knew this about women, yeah, I would probably want to avoid these types of women also. Young women are usually not great at working. Young men are not usually great at working. They haven't gotten those disciplines in yet. It makes sense.
Because it's those women who either don't hire younger, educated women into their organizations, or when they do hire those younger, educated women into their organizations, they do everything in their power to drive them out, from being condescending, from being mean, from being nasty, from refusing to train them properly, from overburdening them with more work than the role or the job requires. It's insane. And before you run into my comments with your musty, dusty, not all women, or how can you claim to be for women's empowerment when you're saying these kinds of things is women's empowerment, because part of empowerment is holding oneself accountable for one's actions. And we need to hold these women hiring managers accountable for their actions.
I thought you're holding oneself for your own actions, not holding other people accountable for their actions. You just literally contradicted yourself. If you're holding yourself accountable, that means you're going to look into yourself. Why didn't I get hired? Why was all these things? No, you're looking into other people and blaming the issue on other people for not hiring you.
We need to hold them accountable for being mean and nasty to younger women entering the workforce full time. We need to hold them accountable for the way they drive out talent out of the workforce. We need to hold them accountable for the way they drive out other women from industries and from entire entities and cause brain drain. We need to hold one another accountable for that because it's very real and it happens. And you can ask any woman of really any age, and they'll tell you they've experienced some kind of nastiness from another woman, most likely in their organization. And that's so sad. And it needs to.
And yet MeToo is propagated mostly because of men. Men are the ones that are doing all these bad things. Men are the ones that are screwing women over, right? I thought it was the patriarchy. But these women understand women nature a lot better than women. And they've gone through the whole struggles themselves. And guess what? These women are either rug pullers, or ladder pullers, that they don't want other women to get in the same position as them, or they're actually good women, good employees, and they've understood that women are really bad employees.
The Me Too movement in 2017 raised awareness to numerous stories of sexual abuse of women in the workplace. And not only was the movement successful in exposing individuals like Harvey Weinstein, it even had an impact on public policy. But like anything, the pendulum swings both ways. Despite its success, the Me Too movement promoted extreme slogans such as "Believe all women," and along with it created a climate of fear where innocent men were unfairly accused and reputations destroyed. And the most notable was the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard case, where Heard wrote an op-ed alleging that she was a victim of abuse. And it wasn't until 4 years after getting canceled from everything when Depp won the defamation trial for the false allegations. Do you think that in a certain way Me Too movement also went too far?
This is the most humbled I've ever felt in my life. I'm literally holding resumes, a stack of them, so that I can go in person to places and say, are you guys hiring?
It's humbling to do things that your forefathers and your parents had to do. That's humbling. I had to do this when I was 18. I walked around the mall with my resume and filled out shitloads of applications everywhere. Got nothing. Congratulations, you're a full-fledged adult now. Get to it.
It's honestly a little bit embarrassing because I'm literally applying for like minimum wage jobs, and some of them are being like, we're not hiring, and it's like, what? This is not what I expected. I graduated college with 2 degrees in communications and acting.
Yes, communications and acting degrees. 2 degrees, guys. 2 powerful ass degrees, communication and acting. Why wouldn't anybody want to hire this woman right here? Those 2 degrees, you know she's going to be a good employee.
I speak 3 languages. Oh.
Do you speak Chinese? Do you speak Spanish? Those are the 2 main languages that matter the most in the United States.
Sucks. Like, I just want to be a TikToker if I'm being so for real with you.
Oh, of course. The truth comes out. That's why you feel embarrassed. That's why you don't do this, because you want to be just a TikToker. This is why people don't want to hire you in the first place, because you're posting your shit on TikTok, probably complaining left and right about companies.
But I can't be delusional anymore. Like, I literally need to make money. So, I'm just going to keep trying. This is the most humble.
When you're delusional and you cry in front of TikTok just to get some sympathy, we don't care.
Well, I got fired again. So I had to pull myself together because this doesn't deserve a cry. But I don't know if you followed me back in January, but I was a recruiter and I lost my job. And I also do like social media marketing. And I ended up losing that job on the same day. And I got pretty much fired twice in one day in January. The social media, everything like the.
This is also the other part. A lot of the jobs that these women have are only good jobs when economy's doing well, when companies are doing well. When companies are doing bad, your job is the first one to get cut off because it's a pretty useless job majority of the time. They know it's somewhat useless, but they put it in there just to meet some quotas.
Like the recruiting, that was just, layoffs and stuff like that. And then the social media, they just obviously couldn't afford a budget for marketing, which totally made sense. But it was just kind of hilarious. Like, did I just get fired twice in one day? So, yeah. Then I got this new job and I started, and today I got fired again. So, I would come on here. So with my platform, I just tell people everything and just express everything.
That's probably why you got fired. Coming on here to tell them everything. All right, go on.
But I never talk bad about anything. I would never talk bad about a
Sure you
company.
don't.
I would never talk bad about any situation or anything like that. I just make light of
Sure.
situations.
You don't
So
lie.
supposedly I get a call today and they're like, we've seen your TikTok and today's going to be your last day.
See? Why you always lying? Stop fucking lying.
And I was like, okay. And some of the videos that they said, there was one where I was talking about training and I was like, oh my God, does anyone go after training and they learn all this stuff and you're like, wait, what did I just learn? I learned so much. So they got mad about that. And then another video, came on here, I was confused. I was having a really depressed day and I was like, do you ever have this feeling where it's like you're not passionate about your job or you're like, oh my God, is this a job I'm gonna do forever? But then you're just sad. But it wasn't me bashing.
It is bashing. You're pretty much saying you might want to quit. You don't know if you want to stay with this company because this company doesn't seem like the fit for you. That's what you literally said on the fucking video. I didn't even see the video. Just by your description of the video, that's what I got from it. So as an employer, I'd be like, oh, that's how she feels? Get the fucker out.
Bashing the job is more just I went through this confusing state where is this what I want to do or is this not what I want to do? Because I'm turning 31 and it was having that mental breakdown. And I just come on here and just, express how I'm feeling.
Oh, so that's what TikTok is, guys. It's them having mental breakdowns and them coming on here to talk to therapists. That's what TikTok is, guys. That's why we get all the dirty little secrets.
And seeing if anyone else feels that way. Then another one I did kind of a joke being I was calling a client or whatever. I think it was just a voicemail and I'm just be quiet so they call you back, just making a joke because I did get a lot of people, clients and recruiters on this platform from my first video that blew up about recruiting. So I always try to weave some things in there to see if I can make any connections that way. So I'd try to make light of the situation. Sorry, of the situation. I think that cut off. But yeah, and so I'm I find it kind of bad that they didn't give me a warning. They should have been hey, we saw this. We don't want you talking about your work at all. And I would be okay, I'm so sorry.
It might be against policy.
And I could have made that decision being okay, I'll take it down. Or, I love doing TikToks and that's I made this brand for myself that I want to continue doing it. So that means this
That's probably why they just fired you. They knew that you were too into your TikTok and you weren't going to give it up.
job isn't for me. And they also were we see that you're posting on during work hours. And I'm I always well, I always post in the morning. I post 3 things in the morning and I have it set up so it sets and does it. And I'm just and also I'm what am I back in the restaurant industry where I can't just go for 4 seconds and post something
Yes. This is called work. You shouldn't be doing personal things at work, especially posting on TikTok. It's so dumb. And it goes over your head so much that you don't know that you can't do that or shouldn't be doing that in your workplace. And you think it's not a problem. Remember the one time I attended in a women's workplace workshop and the presenter said to avoid hiring women of childbearing age because they could get pregnant and leave at any time because they couldn't truly 100% commit to the job. Is this wrong? Is this an incorrect statement? It actually is a very correct statement. A lot of women want to get pregnant. You don't want to lose your workforce when that happens.
I stopped hiring people based on their resumes a few years ago because I got burned a few times where someone had a fantastic resume and they had all the skills that I needed. And on the surface, they looked like everything that I would want as part of my business. Then what happened was we would get to know these people and we found out, yes, their resume was accurate, but they weren't the most pleasant to work with.
This is why it's a problem to work with a lot of women. Or when women come into the workforce, it makes it so that the men's camaraderie, in a sense, changes. We can't say the same things that we used to. We can't do the same things that we used to because now there's a woman present. Just like how men don't do horrible things or say horrible things when women are present, even amongst friends. It's just a courteous thing.
It just started killing morale. So a few years ago, when we created our internal brand and we created our guidelines for how we operate, one of the things that came up during that conversation with my employees was that we needed to stop hiring people based on their resumes and start hiring them based on their personalities. Because everybody there was willing to train someone to do a job, but nobody was willing to put up with a crappy person that was really good at the job.
100%. Doesn't matter if you're great at your job. If you're a horrible person and you're causing trouble in the company, you're constantly going to HR, reporting men here, men there. I get so many comments down below of like HR is just being fed up by being reported to constantly. HR doesn't want to have to deal with this. They have other things to deal with other than these little complaints. And the more complaints they deal with, the less they have time for their other jobs. So it's very apparent that a lot of companies are noticing when women come into the workforce, a lot more HR complaints, a lot more employees are getting let go because of these complaints. You're losing actually good employees for a shitty employee that doesn't do any work, that just complains and puts all that blame onto your better employees.
What'd you say?
It's actually a lot of companies. They don't say it publicly because they're not allowed to say it publicly because
What'd you say?
they will get destroyed by the media and by wokeism and all this gender diversity and all these things.
What'd you say?
But I see it plenty of times in my comments. A lot of you guys are business owners. A lot of you guys would rather only work with men and only work with men and only hire men. I have nothing against that.
I don't particularly like to hire women.
Why?
I'm not. No, you didn't let me finish the sentence.
She's ready.
Calm down. Let me finish the sentence. I don't particularly like to hire women that are close enough in age to me that there could be a thing. Like, look, dude, I'm the boss. I'm coming in. I'm dressed nice. I'm taking control of every situation. We have over 200 employees. Like, no, bro, I don't need it. I don't particularly.
I actually think about it. If I grow up to be a big enough channel and I start hiring people, I would probably hire a nice old lady to handle a lot of my documents, a lot of my other things. I would not hire a young woman. Just the likelihood of me even thinking about that is a no.
Cool. Hi, my name is Maya Milusheva. I'd like to start with a short introduction about myself. I'm a woman in IT, obviously. I'm a CEO of a quite profitable IT company. I'm a mother as well, so you would say I went through quite a lot in the IT industry. So I have the experience and authority to talk about this topic. Now, what I want to say is that the whole talk about women in IT is usually a bad thing for us. Because basically what it says is, well, it's okay to have lower income, it's okay to do worse than boys in the IT industry because, well, there's a world conspiracy against you, you know, people hate you, that's why. So that's why I'm against the whole talk. Also, I did some recruiting because I have a company. And also I went to a school that had like 8 girls and 100 boys. So, you know, I'm quite used to being around a lot of boys. The whole thing is, girls are usually quite lazy.
Ooh.
They're just not that good programmers.
Ooh.
Sorry, but that's true, honestly.
This goes across most industries.
They just don't want to get their hands dirty to do the job.
Right.
And when I tried to do some recruiting, I intentionally wanted to recruit women. And at the end, I failed to do so. Do you want to know why? Because most of those girls were usually just cheating, and they were just not good programmers.
It's just like the other video I did, right? They don't go by resume anymore. They don't go by all those things. Why? School and education and all this stuff, they cheat through it. Money pays for these things. It's not like you actually learned anything in these colleges. I'm sure you learn some things, but for that relates to the actual workforce, that relates to the actual industry sometimes, rarely. And it's not that what you know that's going to get you anywhere. It's how you represent yourself and how you work and how your work ethic is. You can learn everything on the job.
At the end, I had to recruit boys. And that's why I think the whole talk about let's recruit more women is bad, because at the end, you're recruiting worse programmers. At the end, your company is going to suffer.
Yep.
You're gonna lose some money. I know it's
Look at them
trendy
just
to
looking
talk
at each
about
other.
women in IT, but I think women should just start studying more and getting the job done. And I honestly don't see girls staying up until late at their office and working that often. No, it's usually boys staying there.
And we talk about it all the time. Average work hours for women, 36. Average work hours for men, 46. That's a 10-hour difference.
Why? I don't know. So that's what I want to say. I think the whole lecture should be removed, and I think it's just bullshit.
Whew. I hope you guys like that chow. Women, Me Too. Companies have gone through the Me Too era for the last, 5-6 years now? A lot of companies don't want to deal with these HR complaints, these lawsuits, these constant firings because of women. Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And catch you guys next time. Ciao.